Hello, cycle breakers. Welcome to another episode of the Parenting with Understanding podcast. Today, I am interviewing Amanda. She is a former member of the Parenting with Understanding program. And when she came to the program, she was struggling with her child's bedtime. She has a 3-year-old and now a baby. She was living a big transition, preparing to receive a new baby, and then her toddler was having all these behaviors. In this episode, I'm interviewing her because she did the Parenting with Understanding coaching program, which is HIC Parenting's signature coaching program, where you are directly guided by your HIC parenting coach every single week for 14 weeks to help you go from, in this case, Amanda, to go from all those bedtime struggles and potty training issues to finally finding confidence, peace, and overcoming her parenting struggles. So I'm going to interview her. She's going to share her story, what her before was, what was the main takeaway, meaning what was the thing that allowed her to go from all those parenting struggles to finally, with her words, she said, now I find that I'm more confident, peaceful, and there is more happiness in my home, even having 2 children under 3 years old, because right now her baby is 4 months old and she has her 3-year-old. Before we go there, if you are interested in having direct parenting coaching with your HIC parenting coach, the Parenting with Understanding coaching program is the process that we take parents 14 weeks. Every single week you meet with your coach and you are going to find the parenting solutions based on your current and specific circumstances. So if you are interested, just fill out the application for this program, open the podcast episode, fill out the application, or go to the link in my bio at Haim Pod Club and answer all the questions. And at the end, if you do qualify for a free call, then we will send you our calendar and you get to book a free call with a member of my team where they get to know specifically what your specific struggles, desires, needs are. And if it's fitting, then and on the call as well, you will enroll in the Parenting with Understanding program. Every single month we release a new cohort of parents. Okay, so let's go to this interview and let's talk to Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Marcella. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you for accepting the invitation to be in the Parenting with Understanding podcast.
Thank you for having me today.
Okay, so we are going to talk about your transformation using Parenting with Understanding. Could you please refresh my memory? When did you finish this process?
I finished the Parenting with Understanding process in November, actually right before we had our second child, just a few weeks before our baby was born.
Okay, so you are married and you have 2 beautiful children. One is 3 years old and then the other one is 2 months?
He's 3.5 months, so almost 4 months old.
Oh, almost 4 months. Oh my gosh. Time flies, because when you were in the process, in the program, you were pregnant.
I was very pregnant while I was in the program, yes. And to be honest, it all happened at the right time. I'm so glad that it worked out that I was able to take the Parenting with Understanding course before our second child. It was a very hectic and stressful time with being pregnant and working and having a baby at home. But my husband and I really felt like it was the perfect timing because we knew there were going to be some disruptions, with our 3-year-old when the baby did arrive. And so we figured this was a great opportunity to take advantage of the Parenting with Understanding course and the coaching with you.
Okay, so let's talk about the before. Before you started the Parenting with Understanding program, what was your life like as a parent?
So my husband Thomas and I were already trying to implement some gentle parenting practices, and we were both on the same page to start. So that was super helpful. But I think there were a lot of things that we were doing that we didn't necessarily understand the whys behind. And even though we were doing our best to do gentle parenting, there were still times where we were maybe using things like bribes to try to get our 3-year-old to do things that we needed her to do. And so also our 3-year-old is really, she's amazing. She's a force of nature. She's a very bright little girl. So I remember around the time when we started the course with you, I believe it was in August or September, some of the struggles that we were having with our 3-year-old was our bedtime routine, specifically brushing teeth and winding down for the night. And myself, I was feeling highly frustrated because I was thinking, okay, I'm not yelling. There's all of these things that I'm not doing. I'm trying to maintain my cool, but this bedtime process is just really going on a very long time. And I was very pregnant and very tired at the end of the day. And I kept thinking, why was this going so smoothly before? And now we're really struggling with this. Also, we had really struggled with our child from transition from crib to a big girl bed, which had been just like a month or two before we started the Parenting with Understanding course with you. So there were some frustrations around primarily those two things prior to starting the course.
And you said that you were using a lot of bribes. Did your daughter respond to them? Like, how was the dynamic there? How did you feel about using bribes to get her to comply to things?
So,
When were you using them?
well, and the other thing I forgot to mention too is that we had been working on potty training and had a little regression. So that was also when we were kind of trying to use those bribes. So what we were finding is that those promises of treats or different things like that would work for a very short amount of time. And then the newness of those, treats or promises would wear off and we were back to square one. So we were feeling, very overwhelmed.
Okay, I see you. And you know what? A lot of people may relate bribes and rewards with gentle parenting. And we know now, you know now that it is not.
Yes, that has
It is not the same as parenting with understanding. So what was the thing that pulled you to say yes to do this process in the Parenting with Understanding program? Can I ask you a question before that one?
yes.
Do you read articles? Do you read books? Do you before you decided to start this process with an HIC parenting coach?
Yes.
What were you trying to do before bribes and the things that you said you were doing?
Well, I think a lot of it is that, we're using social media, we're reading parenting blogs. That's what I think a lot of moms right now are doing. And those pieces of information can be very helpful, but I feel like the thing that's different about a parenting coach like you, Marcella, is that we're able to get direct feedback from you. So I'm able to share with you an experience. I'm able to ask for specific feedback and advice, and you're able to speak to me about my specific situation versus just seeing general, parenting advice online.
Okay, and how did that help you? How did that benefit you?
That was really helpful to me because I think you were able to see some patterns, um, and how I viewed myself as a parent. You were really able to help me because I often have been a perfectionist in the past,
Uh-huh.
and so you were able to kind of shed some light on some things for me as far as not only maybe how my past has impacted my parenting and my stress level, but also how um, I was able to, maybe use some of my own regulation strategies when I was feeling that sensory overload.
I see it. Okay. So it allowed you to bring your specific needs and feelings to your parenting coach. It allowed you to get specific answers based on the specific dynamic and situation you were living with your daughter. You were pregnant. You were in the middle of potty training. You had some sleep regression going on. You felt overwhelmed. And then your husband was feeling overwhelmed as well. That's a very specific thing, and then you were able to find that support. Okay, so you didn't know all that before you said yes to start this Parenting with Understanding process. What pulled you to say yes?
When I had the opportunity to take the course, I at first I knew it was something that I really wanted to do. I was worried about the timing, to be honest, with being pregnant and everything else that was going on, but I thought, "You know what? Why not now? Now is the time to really face some of these things head on while we have the time and energy prior to our second child coming." And I really liked that with Parenting with Understanding, we were able to set a weekly meeting time and that it was all on Zoom. So I did not have to travel anywhere, which was great. Um, and so I really just felt like if now's not the time, then when? Might as well just go for it because my life is going to become a little bit more complex after second child arrives.
Right. And then you said in the beginning of this interview that I'm glad I did it before my baby arrived. How did that help you? How did this process help you now that you are on your own? You are done with the process. Your parenting coach is not there every week. So, how did that help you?
It's been super helpful because as families who have, more than one child who are not, multiples born at the same time know, there's often a lot of behavioral regressions when a new baby comes home. And so for my daughter, although she was very excited to have a new baby brother at home, there were a lot of huge transitions and the dynamic in our family really changed. Um, all of a sudden she was no longer an only child and we were having to get a lot of, care and attention to baby brother as well as my husband and I were extremely sleep deprived. We also had a lot of visitors coming over. And so it has been huge because I think I have been able to kind of change the way that I think and the narrative that I tell myself when I'm parenting both of my children, especially my daughter as a toddler. And so being able to know, even on my days when I was really tired, even on my days when I did fall short and I didn't, do gentle parenting exactly how I wanted to, I was able to kind of fall back on what I had learned from doing one-on-one parenting coaching with you. And so my husband and I were able to problem solve a lot better. Just this past weekend, we had kind of our daughter had some challenging behaviors, and at the end of the day, we, kind of, applauded ourselves because 'cause we're like, "Wow, we were able to stay super regulated the whole time, and we did not lose our cool." And I think just a lot of the strategies that you have taught us have been very, very helpful because every parent wants to do the best that they can. And, every parent, I mean, most parents, of course, the vast majority have the best intentions for their child. Um, I think one of my biggest takeaways from the course is just from always reminding myself about my child's sensory needs, but also remembering if I'm not able to stay regulated, there's no way that my toddler is going to be able to stay regulated. So in those moments, if I become dysregulated, that's not going to help her process emotions or process what she needs to communicate. So that honestly has been the biggest takeaway for me, and that's been helpful. And I still have a lot of work to do. No one's perfect, but it's really been a huge game changer for us. So thank you, Marcella.
Thank you for saying yes to this process. I'm curious about something because from the experience that I've had with my clients, the things that I hear in social media, I see that people have different perspectives of what they think a parenting coach is versus what a parenting coach is. So people are concerned, worried to sign up for a parenting coaching program and then maybe to be judged. And I think that was the first thing that you told me when in our first coaching session. I'm scared of being judged. And then, or they may be thinking, having the idea that a parenting coach is somebody who's going to just tell them what to do. So, what is the difference in terms of your perspective? What you thought a parenting coach is or what parenting coaching is versus what it really was for you?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to take this course. I know I'm going to gain information from it, but I thought I'm not going to open up and be 100% vulnerable. I don't want to. I want to keep some things private. I'm afraid that if I say what I'm really thinking or maybe what I've gone through that that I'm going to feel this level of judgment. And I think that's where, that whole perfectionism thing fell in where I thought, I remember there were times where I told you, oh, well, I didn't get, this amount of playtime with my child today, or this happened and I don't think I handled this interaction very well. And I felt like you were very open minded and accepting. One thing that I love that you do, Marcella, as a coach is that you never give unsolicited advice. And I think that's really helpful. You always ask for permission to give your opinions and advice. And I did not feel judged at all in this process. I felt like I learned a lot about myself as a person throughout this process. And I would just say to anyone who's worried about, being judged, your job as a coach is to be able to help people be the best parent that they can be. And if you were judging people, you would not be able to do that effectively. And so I think for me, as the weeks of the course went on, I became more and more comfortable with you, and I was able to be less guarded and more open. And the less guarded I was, the more beneficial that it was. But I will say I was very skeptical up front. I was very nervous because I thought, I think if anything, you helped me really to become more accepting of myself and to realize, you know what? I really am a great parent. I am doing a great job. I have skills that I need to continue to learn. And I have, different strategies and things that could make me more effective. But I didn't feel at the beginning, middle, or end of this process like I'm not a good parent. In fact, you helped me realize the opposite, that I am a great parent, and you helped equip me with those skills to be even more successful and to build my confidence. So, but I was very scared about being judged. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I hear that frequently from not from my clients, but from people who are on the fence of like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't want to be judged, or I don't know if I should do this. I wonder if I just can. Another thing that I hear a lot, like I because I'm the parent, I feel like I should know how to figure this out all on my own. Did you ever feel that way before?
Yeah. So basically, one of my philosophies is that when I need help, I'm going to ask for it. I feel like I'm a really good self advocate, and I really feel like in my personal life and in my professional life that it's really important to really lean on specialists when you don't know the answer. So, if I have a dental issue, I'm going to go to my dentist. If I have, an issue with, my skin, I might go to my esthetician or my dermatologist. And so I really felt like, why not go to a parenting coach who specializes in this? I have two children who are now, 3 and under. I've never done this before. I've done a lot of other things, but I have never raised children prior to this. And so why not talk to someone who is specialized in this area, who might be able to assist me to be the best parent that I can be for my children?
Yeah, that's a really great point. And you know what? I think the fear of judgment comes from and I said from own experience, because before I was a parenting coach, I had a parenting coach, and then that for me that fear came from because in the past I asked for help to family members, to relatives, and what I got from them was dismissive statements or judgment, or like a invalidating my experience. I remember one time I was talking about something that I was living with my one of my children in foster care, and then I remember my mother-in-law saying like, "Yeah, it's because you're too soft with them." And then we come from all those experiences that we have from asking advice or asking for help to the wrong people, which is our family and friends. And when then we feel that it may be the same experience when we're working with a parenting coach, and from experience I know it's not the same.
No, it's totally different. And I think that's the thing. I think this generation is kind of changing. I mean, we have a lot of resources that our parents, in their generation did not have. And so I hope that people will reach out more to ask for help. But I do understand your experience because it's really easy to feel judged by family members or friends or even strangers sometimes. And so I think this course has really given me the confidence that to know, my husband and I are on the same page and we know that hey, if someone comments about our child's behavior, that's okay. We can let those things go because we're on the same page with how we are going to parent. And I feel like it's also given me, just the neuroscience that was included in the course has been very, very helpful to me because I know one of the things that I had said to you during one of the first courses was, I think my 3-year-old's trying to manipulate me. And you were saying, actually, that's a skill that's not gained. And like, she's not capable of manipulating right now. She's trying to get a need met. That's a skill that's not capable, that she's not capable of until later on. And so I think, just with that neuroscience background, I've been able to share with other people too. And my parents are primary caretakers for my children when my daughter's not in school and when I'm working. And so, and they come from a different generation. And so it's like we've been able to kind of help them, learn gentle parenting through being caretakers for our kids with what we've learned, through the course, and also like being able to teach the neuroscience as well behind it.
Okay, Amanda. So, what would you say to a parent who is like, I don't know if this is for me. I want to really break my cycle of punitive parenting, of like, I feel like there are things that I have to work on myself, and I don't know if parenting coaching is the right call or therapy. From your experience, because you are currently in therapy, you're currently in counseling and having both therapy and parenting coaching. Number one, what's the difference between those two? And number two, can one complement the other or they don't?
I definitely feel like they can complement each other. Parenting coaching is different because you are looking specifically at your role as a parent. But you're also looking at, your childhood, you're looking at how you interact with your spouse, you're looking at different sensory needs that you might have that impact you as a parent. I do think that, if you do go to counseling or one-on-one therapy for different things, it does complement um, the coaching very well. Um, I think coaching, you have a very different background as a parenting coach than just a general therapist would, because you specialize in working with parents and coaching with children. So that's a very different background than a therapist who might be working with, other areas of mental health. So I definitely feel like they do complement each other. I would say to anyone who is wanting to try parenting coaching but is nervous about taking the risk, I say go for it, because one of the biggest takeaways that I got from the course with you, Marcella, was just being able to grow as a person, and not just with parenting, but being able to look at some of my communication patterns and cycles and to realize, okay, this is something that happened to me in the past. This is why I am sometimes struggling with this with my spouse or with my child or in my job. And I was able to look back and say, okay, I'm going to change that pattern and I'm going to do it a different way. So I highly recommend HIC parenting to any parent who's feeling like they need a little bit of, assistance, or even if you feel like things are going well, but you think things could be going better. Because that's where we were at. I think my husband and I were in a good place with parenting. We were on the same page, but we wanted to do as much as possible for our children so that they can be healthy individuals with strong relationships. And so, um, I'm happy to report now that bedtime and brushing teeth and pottying is going much, much better. And now, we do have our rough days, as every parent of toddlers knows, but we're just a lot more equipped now. And that has given us a lot of confidence and brought a lot more happiness and peace to our home.
Wow, that's amazing. I got goosebumps as I was hearing all those great things. Okay, Amanda. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I cannot wait to see what the future brings for you, your beautiful family, your 3-year-old, your baby, your husband. Thank you for being here. And then, yeah, I hope to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me, Marcella. Take care.
Wow, I feel inspired to keep working hard in the Parenting with Understanding program. This is a program where hundreds, we have over 600 parents going through the program, and from all over the world, many different backgrounds. To fill out the application, just open the description of this podcast episode. If you found this episode valuable, if you were inspired by Amanda's story, write us a review. Let us know how it could help you, how it inspired you. And don't forget to follow us at the Considered Mama at High Impact Club. If you are an HIC parenting client, we have a private Facebook group just for you, exclusive for clients. It's called HIC Cycle Breaker, a private Facebook group. You can look for us there and request to join. And remember, it only takes understanding to transform your parenting. I'll see you next time. Bye.